Every society stands on a shared configuration of reality, a consensus we can think of as the stone. But this structure is not naturally self-supporting. It is a mathematical fixed point, held in place entirely by the physical tension of collective belief. When people imagine how a foundation like this breaks, they usually picture a loud, isolated skeptic speaking truth to power, injecting enough overt doubt into the system to topple the regime. The historical record shows something different. The most entrenched regimes rarely fall when rebellion is at its loudest. Instead, they collapse quietly and suddenly. If shouting at a system does not break it, we need to look at the underlying mechanics. There is a specific mathematical threshold that dictates exactly when a widely shared reality fractures. In the observer-dependent theory of everything, cognitive coherence, what we normally call belief, is treated as a strict, quantifiable metric. This coherence is built from positive variables, the collective focus of our attention, our emotional alignment, and the empirical reinforcement we can observe in the world around us. Internal contradiction, or doubt, behaves differently than the foundational variables of focus and emotion. It operates under an entirely separate set of rules, acting as a unique structural force within the equation of reality. This formula shows how these components interact. Focus, emotion, and reinforcement are multiplied together. Notice the final term. Doubt enters strictly as 1 minus doubt. As doubt approaches 1, that multiplier becomes 0, instantly dragging the entire massive equation down to nothing. A system's accumulated resources are irrelevant here. Endless funding or intense focus cannot compensate. Complete doubt in this single channel bypasses those defenses and nullifies the structure. Doubt is a multiplicative destroyer. How this lever is pulled dictates controlled evolution or total collapse. If doubt can zero out belief, you might assume that one individual completely dropping their faith would incrementally weaken the overall structure of society. A stable society acts like a gravity well, guarded by a mathematical threshold of 0.7071. Above this threshold, a paradox occurs. When a single skeptic drops their belief, the basin's walls aggressively steepen, pulling the system tighter. A strongly held system absorbs the dissenter. Mathematically, their deviation accelerates the remaining population's convergence on the central fixed point, folding the energy of the rebellion back into the existing structure. The isolated whistleblower mathematically reinforces the exact high coherence consensus they are attempting to destroy. If individual doubt strengthens a secure system, the actual trigger is a different collective metric, the variance of doubt across the entire population. These two plots illustrate the difference. On the left, a population where everyone uniformly doubts the system just a little bit remains completely stable. The right shows severe variance, a bifurcated extreme spread. When a population reaches a severe 50-50 split, it drags the mathematical state down to a frustration floor of 0.5. Like metallic filings violently shuddering in a magnetic field, the components are paralyzed, unable to settle into any single alignment. Societal polarization operates the exact same way. It is the operational mechanism that shreds the structural overlap of reality and forces the system into a complete phase transition. When a system attempts to maintain stability by suppressing public dissent, it creates a dangerous mathematical illusion known as phantom coherence. This happens through preference falsification. Individuals publicly affirm a reality they privately doubt. Like this iceberg, the visible surface appears massive and solid, while a sprawling network of irregular fracture lines dominates the mass underneath. This hidden, private variance secretly drags the true mathematical state downward. Beneath the visible surface, the system undergoes critical slowing down as it approaches the failure threshold. Because the surface-level data hides the fatal spread of polarization, the structure appears perfectly intact right up until the exact moment the math fails. This is why institutional trust evaporates seemingly overnight. The ODTOE model functions as a formal control system. It outlines a method for crossing these thresholds without the total loss of shared meaning. To cross without collapse, the transition must follow the continuity axiom. This requires maintaining a specific guard value, labeled beta, greater than 1. This ensures the basin of the old reality remains mathematically connected to the new one, preventing the structure from tearing. By steering the collective coherence across the threshold while simultaneously activating a new focus of attention, the transition remains a smooth flow. The society doesn't fall into the paralyzed floor of polarization, it inherits an intact foundation as it shifts. Genuine stability is never achieved by the forceful suppression of doubt. It is achieved by building a coherence that is grounded heavily enough in empirical reality to survive it. The shattering of a shared reality is not a guaranteed tragedy. When guided correctly, it is simply the mathematical prerequisite for a controlled rebirth into a newly shared world.